What I've done most recently after the June 29 my dinner video uploaded to my YouTube channel during the early night hours is to start editing the June 30 my dinner video project file in Camtasia 2019. And then import the photos and raw video clips for the July 5th my dinner video project from my phone to my laptop by using my phone charger as a tether after removing the adapter end. I recall waking up for the last time today around 9:45 in the morning. After I fell asleep somewhere between 2 and 3 in the morning. I recall within the first few hours of today having some lightly salted plain Lay's potato chips I would say somewhere between a third to half of that party size bag. I also recall briefly waking up around 8:30 in the morning. And I fell back asleep within a few minutes. Both times I woke up today, I woke up naturally, and around noon I had, with a cup of plain coffee, some scrambled eggs. Both of which my mom prepared for me. The pork chop I'm having currently is leftover from when my mom cooked the pack of 4 pork chops we got from our local Wegmans the other day, and around 7 p.m. I had with a pork chop and a glass of whole milk like I'm having right now, some prepared frozen peas and carrots. With the carrots cut into little cubes. Today I primarily worked on editing the June 29 My Dinner video project in Camtasia 2019. During the afternoon hours. And into the early and mid-evening hours. While I finished editing the June 29 My Dinner video at our dining table, I primarily edited the June 29 My Dinner video while sitting on the floor of our basement. As somewhere between 12:30 p.m. and 1:15 p.m. as I was editing the June 29 My Dinner video project while sitting at my setup work area between our kitchen and our living room, I noticed a drop of water hit the surface of one of the 2 glass end tables that makes up my setup work area, along with the sofa I sit in at that setup work area. Luckily, that drop of rainwater hit the left glass end table, very close to the point in which the left glass table ends and the right glass end table begins, with those 2 glass end tables touching each other at that one side. Prior to this, as soon as I noticed the new leak in the ceiling over the area between our kitchen and our living room, I alerted my mom by saying, "It's raining," even though by that point it had been raining pretty hard since 10 in the morning at the latest, which was the last time I woke up for today. Though I didn't really get up until about noon. From about 10 in the morning to about noon, I was pretty much just on my laptop while laying in my bed, in my bedroom upstairs at my mom's place. For a majority of today, roughly from the late morning hours to the early evening hours, area had severe thunderstorms. And around 1:45 p.m., as I was helping my mom move the furniture and pictures away from the area between our living room and our kitchen, so they wouldn't get wet as a result of the leak, even though the leak was only dripping a little. This was after a man was over roughly from 12:15 p.m. to 1 p.m. to fix my mom's garage door so it could open and close again. Luckily, it had been stuck at the closed position. And ultimately, the leak started around 1:15 p.m. Though, thankfully, as I caught it at the first drop, our floor didn't get mildly flooded like it did last time, several months ago. That time it had something to do with the pipes upstairs at that area. So around 3 p.m., a man came over my mom's place to check if there was another issue with the pipes there. And he didn't find anything wrong with those pipes. I recall he left around 5, somewhere between 5 and 6 p.m. I primarily did today's work on editing the June 29 My Dinner video project, sitting on the floor somewhere in our basement with my laptop on basically a piece of wood that used to be attached to one side of my bed. One of the wooden sides. It was around 1:45 p.m. as I was helping my mom by moving stuff that was in that area between our living room and our kitchen, either to our dining room area or to our living room. I went upstairs to my mom's room to check on her, as at the time she was moving stuff out of her closet. And her flat screen TV, as it was on a weather channel, got a tornado warning for our area that was effective until about 2:21 p.m. And that was why me and my mom went down to our basement with, I think we each had at least one plastic bottle of water. At that point, my mom had turned the water off due to the leak in the ceiling over the area between our living room and our kitchen. I recall having just a few sips from a couple different plastic bottles of water each. A few sips each from those 2 plastic bottles of water. I had also turned the chandelier lighting in that area between our living room and our kitchen off due to the leak in the ceiling, even though it wasn't that bad. It was a straight line crack, maybe about a foot or so in length, and it only dripped somewhat for about an hour or so. When I went down to the basement, I brought my laptop, the charger to my laptop, my computer mouse, and the charger to my phone down from my room upstairs. Initially, I moved that stuff from my setup work area up to my room after I alerted my mom to that leak. It took a bit of effort for me to set up an area for me to edit the June 29 My Dinner video project in Camtasia 2019, as I had never really set up an area for me to be on my laptop on the floor of our basement, and our basement is full of clutter, though not to the point where you have difficulty getting around. It's just that there's clutter all over. And from my experience, basements are generally like that, full of clutter. I recall I was down there from roughly 2 p.m. to roughly 6:30 p.m. Then I moved upstairs to our dining room table, and it was there that, as the June 29 My Dinner video was uploading to my YouTube channel, I worked on my current polystyrene drawing project at my mom's place. A small polystyrene ball in which I used a default orange fine point Sharpie marker, then a default blue fine point Sharpie marker, and then a default green fine point Sharpie marker to finish outlining the mouth, the lips, essentially, which at one point I'll blend. And then I used a default green ultra fine point Sharpie marker to outline eyebrows for this polystyrene drawing project, for which I'll basically be practicing blending, though at this stage I'm thinking about which facial features should be drawn with a fine point Sharpie marker versus an ultra fine point Sharpie marker. At one point during the early night hours, I accidentally knocked over a big plastic bottle of Listerine in the bathroom on the first floor at my mom's place, and I used a few towels to mop up the Listerine that was spilled, which I think was roughly half of the bottle. So a considerable amount, but not too bad. I used a second towel, and I'm not talking about paper towels, I'm talking about like beach/pool towels. On a second towel, I put on liquid hand soap that turns into foam when you press the nozzle of it. Did that a handful of times on that towel. Then I wet it using the bathroom sink. The spill primarily occurred at the area behind the toilet. I used a third towel to dry the floor in that area once I was done cleaning up and washing the floor of that area. And that large plastic bottle of Listerine I accidentally knocked over was a large plastic bottle of original Listerine. Though I don't use Listerine at this time, it just happened to be there at that time, and it was pretty old when I accidentally knocked it over off of the sink, and it fell to the left, and the plastic cap to that large plastic bottle came off during the fall. Thankfully, we didn't encounter any tornadoes, though the severe thunderstorms we had today were remnants of a recent hurricane that came within our continent not too long ago.